Okay, that was just to introduce you to the fact that we are in the shoulders of giants and that going to science is not an easy task. You have to really understand the concept, you got to be able to speak the language, which is mostly math, and you have to like bring it all together. Chemistry is one of those subjects where it's a little bit more daunting just because you not only have to know the technical terms and know the mathematics, and we're trying to keep the math to a minimum, but of course,
Stop.
we do need to,
Give back to him.
we do need to use math to express how things operate. That's because when we're trying to figure out how physical process, how chemical process work, mathematics is the universal language for science. So um, that's why you have to be able to master that. Okay, if you're going to be my nurse, you better know how to take measurements. You better know how to know the units that you're taking that, and that's just part of this science and part of this course. So let me go ahead and introduce you to this class. And if you've read the syllabus, this is mostly what the syllabus is about, but I'm just going to go over it personally. And then towards the end, I want to go over my website as well as Canvas, so you know where to navigate and how you guys will be graded. So again, this course is for the allied health majors. If you're in nursing, then this is the course for you. If you're in dental hygienes or pharmacy tech or vet tech, then this is a course for you. The lab is another. If you're in dental hygiene, you need to take on-campus lab. For all others, the lab that we have, even the lab that other colleges are doing, which is virtual, which is watching a video, is also acceptable. Okay, this is my course information. This is what you'll find in the course syllabus. And in this particular case, what you guys will see, of course, is the how to contact me via my Gmail address, as well as my web address for my website. Okay, office hours, because I have multiple classes and I can't set up a Zoom for multiple classes set up, because then I would have to bounce from one class to the other. Just sort of fire me an email that you would like to meet. And even though I have to post office hours here, generally I'm pretty flexible. Like if you want to meet, I'm just not a night person, because I'm usually up till about 5 o'clock in the morning. Last spring, I was up all the way till 7 o'clock in the morning. And since my class were in the evening, that's fine. I would sleep until probably noon or so. But that's why if you're going to look, ask for an appointment, try not to do it in the morning. Afternoons or evenings are best. So that's how to contact me. And this particular meeting, of course, was posted. And it's posted because I wanted to make sure everyone's on the same page. As you think about this class and you think about your education, what exactly is your educational goal in this class? And it's probably because it's a requirement, okay? That's the reason that many of the students have said in the past. It's not really because you like chemistry, but hopefully maybe your mind will change a little after this class, because chemistry really is a universal science. It touches everything in your life. So if you can see how those things relate, then maybe you can understand this universe a little bit more. I also teach a course called Chemistry in Society, and that particular class, very, very minimal math, even less than this, shows how chemistry impacts society and how we, through the industrial age, we've sort of altered the climate and why we're going through this climate global changes these days. It also touches on drugs and other things, but that's a fun class that I like to teach. If you're taking this class for a GE, you should think about taking that class instead. They're both 3 units. In terms of how this course is structured, everything's connected through the World Wide Web, the internet, and you got to remember that um, you're able to access a lot of information, good and not so good, in the sense that you could find answers. You could even have people answer your questions when it comes to the exam. And that was a problem that we had last spring, where there was massive amount of cheating. The vice president of student affairs really had a lot of cases to work with. And that's because maybe students didn't understand the difference between collaboration and dishonesty. And so you need to read the dishonesty disclosure, just so that you know that you're not breaking the rules in terms of being dishonest. And we'll go over that as well in this particular session today. But in terms of how the course operates, when you go to the internet, you can connect either to the Canvas course, which is really the main conduit to go into my homepage and my lab and mastering, or you can go to my homepage and find the lecture notes directly there and some other supplemental information. In fact, Canvas pulls information from my homepage and downloads it in Canvas in real time so that you guys can see the notes. But in Canvas, that's where you take the quiz. That's where you'll see the announcement. That's where you will take the email me as well, see how you're doing in the class through the gradebook. So that's basically how this course is structured. In terms of requirement, we had issues. I don't know why we had issues. The publisher had all summer, but it's a customized text. And as a customized text, I only include the first 11 chapters of this textbook. You can see the little icon here because we're using the 6th edition of Timberlake, General Organic Biological Chemistry, Structure of Life. So if you're going to buy a text or you're going to get the e-text, that's the textbook that you want. There's a link in the syllabus as well as in Canvas to go to that, because you will need my lab and mastering in order to do the homework. And even though the homework is based on the problems found in this particular textbook, it's also based on problems found on the previous edition. Not really worried about which edition you use. You could use the 6th edition, which is this, or even the 4th edition, which you probably could buy really inexpensively through the internet. But because chemistry is still the same. Chemistry hasn't really changed. Nothing, spectacular has been discovered in terms of the basics. There's a lot of spectaculars in discovery in terms of specific, but in terms of the basics, which is what you guys are learning, there's nothing new there. But certainly, hopefully, the new book is better articulated so that it's more understandable than the old edition. But as far as I know, they're pretty much the same language. So anyway, the main thing that you need to get is the My Lab and Mastering. And you can only do that through Canvas. You cannot go in and go to their website and register, because it'll ask you for course ID. So if you are asking for course ID while trying to register for My Lab and Mastering, you're doing it all wrong. You need to be in Canvas. You need to go to the left link and click on the My Lab and Mastering. And once you open that, it'll give you a link to go in and register. You can sign up for 14 days in which you don't have to pay anything and start doing the homework. At which time, after 14 days, it'll shut you down and ask for your money, okay? Or if you go to the bookstore, and the bookstore should have the text and the custom edition by September 1st. So you could certainly sign up for the 14-day trial and then go to the bookstore to get the bundle. And the bundle is supposed to be a lot cheaper than what you would get through the online version. Then you could use the code there to sign up for My Lab and Mastering. If you have any issues with that, because there has been issues in the past, let me know. I'll contact the publisher. Okay. In terms of student learning outcomes, you guys are going to apply math to solve quantitative. Quantitative means numbers, okay? Qualitative means concepts. So, but you're going to use math to solve quantitative chemical problems, write chemical names and formulas for inorganic chemicals, not organic so much because that's another course. Recognize the type of intermolecular force. Intermolecular force really is the concept responsible for the phases of matter. Without intermolecular forces, you would not have the solid or the liquid phase. Everything would be in the gas phase. Okay, so that's an important SLO, student learning outcome. And then conceptualize models of the atom and explain physical properties such as the shape of chemicals, the polarity, that is whether the chemical has some partial or negative charge, and then of course its intermolecular force property. This is the course schedule. Let me get out, okay? In terms of the different chapters that we're covering, some chapters we cover 2 weeks because it's much more involved, but most chapters we cover in 1 week. And then these are the assignments. And where you see purple, that's where you will have the module quizzes. The first assignments here, you'll see are bonus opportunities. They're extra credit. It's not required to do, but if you want extra points for the class, then you will try and work on that, just because it gets me to know you better, so I know who the students of the class are and what your interests are, okay? It also gives you an idea of what type of problem solver you are, right here. This is all found in Canvas, by the way. And then, of course, in the third week, when everything's sort of settled, you guys will have a syllabus quiz, and then you guys have quiz 1, which covers chapters 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so keep that in mind. Chapter 2 is probably the most difficult in quiz 1. That's because that's the math chapter. Anyway, take a look at the syllabus. What we're going to do is, the beginning, we learn some of the fundamentals. We learn how to use dimensional analysis. If you're going to learn anything in this class, you want to learn dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis is also called nursing math. And the reason why it's called nursing math is because you use that technique. It's a methodology, okay? It's not a formula. It's a methodology by which you can look at a word problem and solve it without knowing the equations to use. And all you're doing is using the units of the given information to set up the mathematics so that you get the right equation. Dimensional analysis is really important in terms of conversion. If you have ounces and you need to convert it to milliliters, dimensional analysis is the way to do it. If we go into stoichiometry, and we don't go into stoichiometry until mid of the semester, if you invest in learning dimensional analysis really well, it's going to pay dividends for you in that particular chapter. Because, as I said, dimensional analysis is the methodology by which you can solve problems, word problems, by just looking at the units. And stoichiometry is notorious for that. Of course, you have to understand a little bit of the concept, but rather than memorizing equations, dimensional analysis is how to get through that particular section. So as soon as the first part of the course really is about understanding fundamentals. We learn about units, we learn about dimensional analysis, we learn about nomenclature, the language that we use in chemistry. We learn how to solve basic problems. And then the second half of the course is the application, where you use the fundamentals from the first half to solve more sophisticated, more top-level problems like solution chemistry, like acid-base chemistry, like gas laws. Okay, so invest a lot of times in understanding the first half of the course, because it'll pay dividend in the second half. Let me go through the grading scheme real quick. so that you guys will see how this thing works. Make sure you try and read the chapters based on the schedule that we have. Reading the chapters, or at least overviewing it, gives you an idea of the topics that is covered and gives you much more depth than the lecture notes. Use the lecture notes as a guide in terms of what topics is important, and all the lecture notes are found on Canvas and my website. Use that as a guide to figure out what topics to stress, but use the textbook in terms of going into the details, okay, and understanding it at a deeper level. Homework, of course, is through My Lab and Mastering. You can only access it through Canvas. And then the main way that you guys are going to be graded is shown in the next part. When you guys log in to Canvas on a weekly basis and turn in your assignment before the deadline, then you guys get participation points, okay? If you're missing assignments or things like that, then you don't get the full breadth of the participation points. Because this is online, you guys have to go at your own pace, but you go at a pace by which I dictate. We covered chapter 1 this week and next week. Well, chapter 1 and 2, I mean. Well, you're going to have to do that at your own pace, but be complete by the end of the following week, because by the end of the third week, you guys have a quiz. And if you still haven't read chapter 3, then you're not going to be prepared for that quiz. So again, you learn at your own pace. Certainly call me up if you don't understand a concept. And I've told these students a lot of times, in fact, when I had this online class, and we had online on-campus meetings, I tell them that 5 minutes with me will save you probably an hour trying to figure it out on your own, okay? Because then I can read your body language and then sort of explain it so that you can understand. Okay, so you guys need to be mute all, okay? I need to mute you all because not that I don't want to hear you, but it's sort of a distraction. So anyway, if you want to speak up, then go ahead and just unmute yourself or put something in the chat. And it looks like, just take a look real quick here. Yeah, I know they don't have, I'm just looking at the chat. They don't currently have the book. But like I said, if you go to the link on Canvas, what you will see is that you can get the e-text and My Lab and Mastering. So you really don't need the information from the bookstore. You can just do it through online, through Canvas, that link that I provided. So in terms of your attendance, like I said, everything's thrown out because we're not meeting on campus. Really, the only way I can take attendance is by your weekly login to Canvas. Because Canvas is kind of like Big Brother. Canvas can actually monitor who is attending this by keeping a file and giving an idea of who you are when you logged in, when you logged out. Okay, Canvas is also recording this session so that I can take it, clip it, and then post it for those who missed it. And Canvas can figure out when you log in, especially during a quiz, and when you log out, how long you spend per problem. Okay, so if you're taking a quiz and it's maybe a 90-minute quiz and you finish in 5 minutes and you get 90%, I know you're cheating. Okay, because Canvas will tell me you completed that. You don't even have time to read that whole quiz in 5 minutes. So please don't do that because you really want to get the experience out of this class, because a lot of you are in the allied health field. You are going to be responsible for lives, whether it would be my lives, my family lives, your neighbors' lives, or your pet lives. Some of you are going into veterinary, okay? So it's important to know the fundamentals. So that's how attendance is graded. In terms of the quizzes, I give you a weekend window, this is the way it's structured. I open it up on a Friday morning, sometimes Thursday evening, and then it closes on Sunday before um, right at 11:59. So you have that whole weekend, and I do that because in the past, especially if you're taking online class, a lot of you do work. Okay, um, so in the weekend you usually have more time. You usually have it's much more relaxing than the middle of the week, and so once you start the quiz, however, you only have like 90 minutes to complete it. For those of you who have DSPS, then you have double the time or time and a half. But you only have that amount of time to complete it. So don't take a break because the clock runs once you open it up. So if you open it up, take the quiz for about 30 minutes, decide you need to take a break, and then open up. 2 hours later, it's closed. And whatever questions you've answered, Canvas locks it in, but the questions you didn't answer, that would just go for 0. Okay, so please keep in mind, once you open it up, make sure you find yourself a good time where you're not interrupted so you can complete the whole thing. It is time. Some assignments, like the homework, is not time. Some assignments, like the homework and the survey questions, well, the homework you can do up to 5 times. Okay, so when you do the homework in MyLab and Mastering and you get it wrong, go back and try it again. Now you know which one you did incorrectly, and there's some hints on that as well. And before the last trial, if you're not getting it or you're not just understanding it, then just drop me a line and seek help, and I'll try and gear you towards the right. But remember, you do have 5 trials, and what will happen is a lot of students will not take advantage of that. You try and do the homework last minute, like Sunday afternoon, and then you can't take advantage of that. Take it early so you can see what the questions are. You don't even have to answer it. You just need to open it and see what the questions are, okay? And it doesn't count against you if you don't answer it. But you see what the questions are, make sure that you submit something. And again, the questions are worth 20 points apiece, okay? So if you think about it, that's 40% of a quiz that you would have, the quiz, the module quiz after each section. So it pays to do the homework. The homework total is 200 points. The module quiz are 200 points for the end of the semester. The midterms about 200, and then your finals about 250. Okay, so the breakdown is here. Let me show you that right here. Participation's 10 points. Quiz, syllabus quiz. You guys have a syllabus quiz after September 5th, after Labor Day. So it's basically what we're talking about here in more details. Homework's 20%, 4 quizzes 20%. So you see, your class you're evaluated by multiple measures. If you're a bad test taker, then good. You can score high on the others and still get an A in this class. Okay. The midterm is 20, and then the finals 25%. Everything adds up to 100%. And then these things are based on 1,000 points. At the end of the semester, if you have a perfect in this class, you would have accumulated 1,000 points. In fact, you could accumulate more than 1,000 points because there's extra credit involved. But like the homework is 20 points apiece, there are 10 of them. 20 times 10, there's actually 11. I dropped the lowest. 20 times 10 is 200. The quiz, there are 4 of them, 50 points apiece. Okay, 4 times 50, that's 200 points. So each of the assessment, each of the things that I grade you on is based on a point value, and at the end, it adds up to 1,000 points. And it's convenient for me because at the end of the semester, if I see that you have like 830 points, that's 83%. Okay, 830 divided by 1,000 is 83%. That's a B. Okay, and the range here you can see is 90 to 100% is excellent. That's an A. If you want an A in this class, get a 90% or better. But I do curve it at the end. Okay, in the past I've dropped the A to as low as like 88%. So if you got 881 points, I'm giving you an A in the pass. But this is just a guarantee. If you've got 900 points or better, you're guaranteed an A in this class. And anyway you get there through the assessment and the extra credit, that's why you want to maximize your points. You don't want to squander extra credit because you never know how far you are from that next upper grade. Okay, and the extra credit that I give generally adds up to about 50 points by the end of the semester. Okay, so take advantage of that. If you have like 860 points based on the assessment and you've got 50 points extra credit, guess what? That translates to 91%. So think about that. Anyway, these are how you guys will be assessed. The homework is found through Canvas, through My Lab and Mastering. The quizzes are found through Canvas, through the module quiz. The extra credit are found through Canvas, through the discussion and all that. The midterm, you guys are going to be taking through Canvas. Final, you guys will be taking through Canvas. So everything is through Canvas, basically. Okay, and then the last part of this is just miscellaneous information about making sure you, a lot of times you guys are going to have to upload a file through Canvas. You need to give it a proper name. Don't just say assignment number 1, because the most time-consuming thing for me, and I'll probably find out who submitted that by looking at it and reading it through and finding your name somewhere. But the most time-consuming thing for me is to kind of like organize your assignments, your quizzes, especially the things that you turn in. And if you can make it easier on me, then you give me a better attitude when I'm grading. And when I have a better attitude when I'm grading, I generally give you the benefit of the doubt instead of being more harsh in terms of the strict protocols of how to do things. So please follow, especially this thing highlight in yellow, your last name, first initial, the assignment title, and then the date you submitted. That's generally how I would like you to submit files. If you're turning it in, it's like I need you to show your work for a problem. So you're writing it on paper, taking a picture and uploading it to Canvas. Then title it this way. That way I can keep track. Okay. The other thing I want to mention is that when you guys are taking the quiz or the exam on Canvas, sometimes I forget and the quiz score is released right away. Generally, it's not supposed to be released until after the due date. But if it's released right away, still can't quite figure how Canvas works, but you might see your score and maybe it's 50 points assessment and you only see 10. And that's because the other problems were not graded, or Canvas, because remember, Canvas works on artificial intelligence. Well, artificial intelligence in terms of what I code in for the answers. So if it's a free response question, like fill in the blank, and you type the number 4 instead of type out the words 4, and Canvas is looking for the words 4, it's going to mark you wrong, even though it's correct. So what I always do is I always go into the assessment, double check your work, and sometimes I miss that, and you guys will remind me if I miss it, and I'll go back and check it and give you credit. Okay, but I go back and override Canvas mistakes. So the score that you get initially may not be the final score that you get when I release it. So keep that in mind, because you don't want to email me and complain that, oh, I only got 2 out of this assignment that's worth 10 points, or especially on the survey, like the math survey, you're going to get a fraction. The math survey tells me how much math knowledge you have. Whether you get it all right or get it all wrong, you get 5 points, okay, extra credit. What you will see initially when you do it is a fraction, 0.4 or 0.3. Don't get overheated because of that. I need to go in, see your score, and then translate that to 5 points, okay? So please keep that in mind. So 2 things I want to mention in these miscellaneous notes, okay? It's about making sure that you complete the assignments in a timely manner, because you do get to drop 1 homework. So if you miss any homework, that's the one you drop. If you start missing 2 or more, you get zeros on those. You make it up through the extra credit. Okay, so that's why it's important to do my lab and mastering. You're worth 20 points. Every time you don't do a homework, you drop 20 points. By the time you miss 5 homeworks, you've already dropped a letter grade. So, and remember, you have multiple times to do the homework correctly. So take advantage of that. The idea is to get you guys practicing how to do some of the fundamentals. The other thing I want to mention is the dishonesty disclosure. It's okay to collaborate. It's okay to verbally talk with your classmate, but when I'm grading these things, especially for those of you in lab, and you're just blatantly copying, cutting and pasting those things, then I'm going to call you out on it. If you have, now what we have is a database of old reports. If you're copying old reports, then I'm going to call you out on it. You guys want to go through the educational, and I realize this is not really an ideal the way we're doing remote learning, but you know, you get out what you put in. I remember that when I was an undergraduate at State. If you really want to understand the concept and really understand what the course is offering, then you're going to invest time. If you are cutting corners, if you're just skipping the keys that are going to prepare you for your future class or future concepts, then you're going to have that missing link. So you really get out what you put in the course. And again, as future nurses, vets, I really want you to know your fundamental. You guys all have the capability of understanding this, and you're not going to understand it if you cut corners. So in other words, don't try and just copy off things. Really try and understand why you arrive at that solution. There's a reason why that's the answer for a problem, and that it's not because somebody else wrote it. Okay. The other thing too is that I say this now, and you guys will forget in the heat of the battle, when you're stressed out and you just need to get something done. You're going to find the path of least resistance, and sometimes that path of least resistance is fine. Going to Chegg, yes, I know that a lot of students have subscription to Chegg, and that's the problem that we had last year or last spring, where my mediocre students who never had like higher than a B in some of the exam had like the highest score in the final, and that raised the average. And so what happens is that students who were just at the edge of getting an A were down to a B. Messed it up for everybody. Okay, I was gonna set 87% as the A when these mediocre students raised the bar in terms of the curve. Then the curve went back up to 90%. That's not fair to the classmates in your class, and it's not really fair to you. Okay, to me, students have always been dishonest, but it's gonna affect you more than me, just because that's the knowledge. And you know, it's the thing that I tell my daughter as well and other class. You actually learn more from failure than you do if you just understand it, because through failure you really have to dissect the problem and understand where you got wrong, and hopefully you get something out of it. So missing a problem is not the end of the world, what you will find. Okay, I've had a lot of ups and downs, and usually, like I remember taking calculus in at State when I was a freshman, and I remember just bombing some of my calculus problem. I remember like the first one, it just got me motivated to be better in that next one. Try and figure out why I missed it, why I wasn't prepared, figure out what I needed to change. And so if you take shortcuts, if you cheat, then you never come up to that understanding that you really do need to change your study habits. You really need to change what area of the concept to understand. So again, I say it here. You at the heat of the moment, some of you are going to take into the dark side. Please don't. Okay, you're shortchanging yourself. So in terms of two things, like I said, make sure to be as honest as possible, because if you're not, I'm going to call you out on it if I suspect that you're being dishonest. And usually that comes from not the fact that you got the problem right, but because you got the problem wrong. Two students who are dishonest and got the same problem wrong in the same weird way and got the same solution for that problem, that's how I recognize that you're cheating. Okay, so keep that in mind. The rest of this is just, again, attendance, the quiz, the conditions for being dropped. If you miss more than 3 assignments consecutively, then I know there's something wrong. I'll try and reach out to you through email and figure out what's going on. But if I don't get any response back, then I'll probably drop you for non-participation. If you're dropping below 30% because you're not doing the problem or you're just not making an effort, I'll try and reach out to you as well. But really, you're not going to pass the course. You might as well get a W. Okay, so keep that in mind. So these are the important notes in terms of what's going on. I really want to get to the last page. That is the read this, because it gives you some perspective of what we don't take your grade lightly. When we evaluate how you do in a class, we really try and see whether you're improving, whether you're turning in assignments in a timely fashion, and sometimes we even allow you to do the work again, because it's an important concept to do. So at the end, like I said, it's what you put in. So read this in terms of why you get the grade at the end of the semester, because I thought this was a pretty clever answer from Quora. But really, I want you guys to get to this part, okay? Honesty, academic conduct. Read this. Your syllabus quiz will have a lot on this. And then this right here was just released by the Vice President of Student Affairs, because again, that office had a lot of incident where instructors referred the students to be disciplined. And what the VP said was that a lot of students didn't understand the difference between collaboration and dishonesty. So this sort of spells it out. And this will also be in the syllabus quiz. I've got about maybe 10 minutes left. I want to keep this maybe to an hour. So I want to show you Canvas, and then also show you my website, and just make sure that you guys understand how to navigate this. So you can always get to my website if you Google F. Garces, or you can get to my website by, and I don't have a WordPress. I tried to do a WordPress, but if you Google F. Garces, this is the site that you get. And this is the splash page for getting into all my classes. You can see I'm pretty busy this semester. I have 5 classes. To get into your class, just enter here. You can download the syllabus and the schedule here. You can also look at the book. If you click on that, it'll show you about the textbook we have. And this right here is the old edition. If you buy this, that's fine. It's not that critical. Let me go back. I'm wondering why it didn't. Here, okay. If you go to this right here, then you can go to Pearson, and then this is the available package that you guys can purchase. And so if you view all, you have basically different price entry points for the book. And what you really need is the MyLab and Mastering. If you have the e-text, that's fine too. Anyway, when you go into my website, what you will find is the lecture notes. The lecture notes are all here. If you go by this left menu, and for those of you in lab, this is the lab link right down here at the bottom. But if you go to Unit 1, for example, these are the notes that Canvas loads in order to give you that information. So use these as a guide in terms of the concepts that I think are important, and then use your textbook for more details. Okay, so like I said, lecture notes here. The other thing that you will find is sample exam. So if you want to prepare for your quiz, go here. You have a sample exam. If you, let's take a look at this, measurements and units. How many significant figures should be the answer in the following problem? I can see that some of the links were didn't come over, okay? But here, which one of the following measurement contains the fewest number of significant figures? And if you want to see the key, just click on key right here, and it will show you the answer in red. So the sample exams are here, lecture notes, Google Drive. This is where I dump a lot of information. And I've taught this class for over 20 years, 25 years. I was hired at Miramar College back in 1995. And so I've created a lot of materials to help you get through this class. And so I will take advantage of it. Let me go back to Canvas. So in Canvas, my webpage, you can just navigate. What you will find, again, are the lecture notes, sample exams, and just other information. But this is Canvas. The home page here shows you the announcement. If you click here, again, it gives you information about the textbook if you're still having issues about getting a textbook. So this is the splash page. It'll show you the top 3 announcements, the most recent ones, and then this is just to greet you. The announcements here are just the announcements that I've posted. The syllabus is here. You can download it here, but really you want to go to the module page. The module page you want to go and follow on a weekly basis. The first part is the information, okay? And what you will find here is information about the class, integrity, the textbook information, Google Drive. If you click on this triangle, it's called a chevron, it collapses it. So it makes it easier for you to navigate through the rest of the module. First week, you guys will read these. Again, this links directly to my webpage, okay? So it provides you that link so you don't have to go to my homepage. And these are the lecture notes. And then at the end of each section, it tells you that you have a homework assignment through My Lab and Mastering. So it takes you to this site within Canvas so that you can do that. So it sort of walks you through in a chronological fashion of the things that you need to do to get through to prepare you for this quiz that's coming up on, it opens at 9/4, but it's due on 9/6. Sorry, the first quiz here is going to be, the syllabus quiz is going to be due on 9/4, but there's a module quiz that you will find that's due on September 6th. That'll cover chapters 1, 2, and 3. Anyway, go through this in a sequential manner. Once we're done with the first week or the first few weeks, okay, this is the second week right here. We're now in chapter 1 and chapter 2 and chapter 3. It tells you this goes from August 17th to September 6th. And at the end of this, you will see the quiz right here. Okay, and it's due on, it looks like 9/8. Actually, it's due on 9/6. I need to change some of those dates. But this is how you go through this course in the sequential manner, in a chronological fashion, so that you don't have to jump around, okay? Try and make it easy for you. If you jump around and go to assignments, you'll see this is where I pull assignments to put in the module. This is where it sort of collapses things together. The quizzes, likewise, I pull these and put it on the module page so that you don't have to jump from assignments to quiz. You can just go to the module page to do the required announcements. The discussion is also shown in the module page. So these are the 3 ways that you guys are going to be assessed: the quizzes, the homework, My Lab and Mastering, and the discussion. And then to see your progress, just click on the grade, and then it'll allow you to see your points to date, okay? And certainly that's the main thing that I wanted to show you in Canvas. If you have any other questions, then let me know. But I just want to make sure that you guys understand how you guys are going to be assessed and where to find it in Canvas. So just take a look real quick. Yeah, for those of you who are in my lab, we have a Zoom session at 12:30. It's half an hour from now, okay? And the lab tech has given me specific instruction when you need to pick up the chemical. You also need to get the lab kit from KLM. And you know what? We're trying to make this as inexpensive as possible. I know that other colleges are also teaching online labs in which you guys buy a kit, but their kits can run as high as $200, $300 I hear, okay, because they're buying it through a vendor. And yeah, they probably have preset experiments where it's supposed to work out correctly. This particular lab that you guys are enrolled in has been tried for like 10 years between 2000 and 2014. And yeah, there's still kinks, but at least the kits, I brought it down from like 160 to about 125. And that's because we're supplying you the scales. And you guys need to get that in order to do the experiment. But the rest of the time, make sure you go to the module page on Canvas so you know what assignments are due, and make sure you try and complete it, because really, if you want to pass this class, you need 650 points. So it's a race to 650. Sometimes I drop it to 600 points, depending on the strength of the class. But if you can get a 650 or better, you generally get a C grade or better. Okay, so do that by doing the homework, the quizzes, the exams, and the extra credit. You have a lot of extra credit. Most of the discussions are required, but a bunch of them are extra credit. So if there's no other question, I promise to keep you to do this for an hour. It's because I know that 90 minutes might be a little bit too late. If I just hit the important topic, then you might not doze off, okay? But if there's no other questions, I appreciate you guys making an effort to come to this Zoom session. I will get the recording and post it. I will also give you guys credit because Canvas has your name recorded, and give you a few bonus points.